you always can, but I think the way that he was just needed on border was not in a position where he really could flourish as a player. I think that's going to change for Chalet, to be honest.
Well, we will see, won't we?
We will.
Very first ban is Flores. Now, DarkZero liked running that Flores an awful lot. Is that Heroic simply target banning the Flores out, or is there just a greater strategy that they're worried about involving Flores on Chalet? And that's the thing to keep in mind. This is a Chalet map.
I was going to say, if you ban the Flores, it's often to make the enemy target ban the Asami, actually. Because if Flores is banned out on Chalet, and Asami's open, and you're starting defense, which is what Heroic's doing, you are in for a world of hurt. It is so difficult to take library, which you need for almost every single bomb set because the defense can extend over there, against Asami with no Flores. There's going to be key barriers constantly up. You can't deal with them. So my theory is the Flores ban was the force out and Asami ban. That's exactly what happened. Solus follows up, a trend we saw on border as well. These information operators and key operators on both border and Chalet are taken off the board. It's going to be a bit of a more like stable / vanilla Chalet game, which honestly, I don't know who that's going to favor in particular, but it's really anyone's game here.
I always enjoy Chalet because it does tend to be quite an unpredictable map, and the way that the teams play it will be often quite unpredictable themselves. Just looking at the game that we casted earlier on Chalet, we're going to have a very, very different lineup in terms of operators and a very different play style than what we see here and now. It was Twitch, Nook, Valk, and Castle who were banned out in the Chalet that you and I watched. That's it. Let's just ignore all the others.
Okay.
The only operator that's been banned both times is Nook. The rest, very different. And the way that this will be played out, with the Solus being a very important operator on a number of bomb sites, will fundamentally change the defense's approach to scouting for the attackers and maybe playing a bit more aggressively, whether they find an attacker on cams or a drone in a wayward spot.
I mean, the thing about Solus is it just kind of changes how you play Siege on a very, very basic level, right? Droning next to a window. It's just a bad idea because if there's a Solus there and they have the gadget active, you'll just get window banged essentially, right? You'll just die. That happened in the match between W7M and Elevate, and like I think the opening game of today where you drone the wrong spot, you're gone. It takes time to adapt to those changes. With a simple operator release, just change everything you know about how to play the game on like a very core level, just like that. That is so cursed, by the way. Barry 9 extended barrel. I never thought I would see the day.
Why are more teams running extended barrel?
Well, the extended barrel got a flat 15% damage increase, so it's pretty good now. But it also has the recall of no barrel, which is more than any other barrel that is a barrel. So you have a little bit more recall. We do 15% more damage, whereas the silencer no longer reduces damage by 15%, so it's a normal damage, and you can be a little bit of a silent shooter. So every single barrel now has a personality. It's very cool.
I like how I was just totally kidding, and you went off on it, but
it's important to know these
being
things and to share
a serious man.
There are people watching this thinking, why are pro players trolling with extended barrel at the Invitationals? Now they know. They're not trolling. They're just trying out the new cool thing.
I mean, talk about the general understanding of the game, and there's a lot to be learned at this level. Canadian first to die, by the way. This will be a quick push in that is met swiftly by Heroic's weapons. DZ wanted to take up some ground a little bit closer to that bedroom office bomb site. Heroic stitched 3 kills in a row before it's broken by NJR. He removes Sloth from action. Noodle is also on a single point of HP. Skies will enter through the basement. He's got the diffuser in hand. NJR is not too far behind. If they look to go up West Main, they'll be on a collision course with Joom, who's still playing this really tight angle.
And they know they got the yellow ping information, so either you stand still with your Joom and take the 1v1. Actually, Sky is not going to come there to help NJR. He's going to go for a different route with his shield in his direction.
Down goes Skies. NJR in a 1v4.
15 seconds left.
Didn't he accomplish much at all? And you find a single kill? No, Joom's still on that angle. Heroic win the very first round on Chalet. Oh, hey, you can't say that on TV. You can't say swears. Don't say swears. You're not allowed to swear.
So, just like Border, Chalet is also typically a attacker favorite. And Master Bedroom as a bomb site is one of the lowest win rate for defenders across any map really that is a, quote-unquote commonly played bomb site. So winning that on the opening round for Heroic is a great look into this, right? Most teams, they start bar, then they go into basement, then they go into kitchen, then they go Master Bedroom, maybe once if ever. So, bit of a different approach here. It's gonna be a master into bar instead, and this we're gonna see that pretty stable setup where you play above inside of library. But the one difference here is that Heroic does not have a Sami, so library itself is not gonna be as easy to hold. And the very, very different thing is that there's no deployable shields at all in defense. Normally you play 2 deployable shields, 1 top blue stairs, 1 chimney position, as you see on the screen right now. Those are going to be completely bare. Both walls was library from chimney reinforced with a jammer on it. So this kind of tells me, watching, that Heroic's going for a very passive setup up top, just stalling for time and resources, and going to be playing proactively on the map on a bigger level, just taking gunfights. And nuclear operators, Alibi, Mussy, Oryx, these operators that can take gunfights anywhere, anytime, any place really. Then you have, and it's over. Doom is dead, Gavin gets open and kill, DC in a great position here to leverage this advantage further in the round. Scary stuff for Heroic because when you don't have a stable bomb site set up to hold a certain area of the map, you need your gun players alive to really have map control to work with. And you see this, Canadian will drone Solarium on the Jackal, can scan for feats. I was gonna say feetsies.
Don't say that.
He can look for roamers, if you will.
Oh.
And Heroic, I mean, they're instantaneously falling back. One member drops, C4 goes out, nothing is really landing for them. And sure, the jammers are going to slow down DarkZero, but they're not going to be a problem in the grand scheme of things because they're going to build up this map control presence very quickly.
Uno taking a lot of damage now. Now it's Sky's turn to take some damage here. Let's be on Sky's watch for today. One of the most experienced players competing at this entire event, in fact.
Yeah, actually.
And he's usually so good, as I've said before. Usually quite good, but not performing up to snuff. Canadian is waiting for Grizzly, waiting for his advance. But the Jackal will back away from a fight down in wine. Half the round burned at this point. Canadian's still in this spot. Is he afraid that somebody's going to burst?
I was going to say, like, he's doing like the cabinet the entire time.
What's he think's happening over there?
I mean, he's got a good read on it. He's close, but not getting a kill just yet.
Pamba now the one to take some damage, but he exchanges all of that HP for a kill onto Sloth. This action is happening all over the menu, or all over the map. And it's pretty incredible. You got kills on the menu, my friend. DZ taking their lumps. Pambazoo flashing red. NJR flashing red. Gavin and Canadian are doing okay, but now Canadian is also flashing red.
So winnable.
A single point of damage, and there's a Nitro Cell in the back pocket of Grizzly that can very easily kill every remaining player. There's about 20 HP combined on the 3 players from DZ, but it continues to fall away. Heroic doing okay. Canadian can't shoot back. NJR goes in. A huge round from Uno. And Heroic go up 2-0.
Also, if there's any individual player who needed that kind of round, it's Uno. He plays supportive operators, often finding himself droning, holding angles, IGLing for his team, leading those young players forward. And Uno has spoken about in numerous interviews that when he starts, when he becomes the IGL of the team, basically calling all the shots, communicating a lot, he always suffers, in his personal performance because he's not a native English speaker. He's from Finland. And as you see from his interviews, it's not always easy to get your train of thought across, especially when you're in the midst of a round, also trying to play, shoot back, have a fast reaction time, etc. And Uno is basically saying, I will suffer individually for the greater good of the team. And that often means a poor scoreline. And even the most experienced players, Troy Canadian, someone like Uno, someone like Skies, when you're going 0-5, it can be hard to mentally deal with when it happens all the time. And you start doubting yourself and your worth as a player. Uno right now, just in 2 rounds, up 5-0 scoreline, had a monstrous round number 2 on Chalet, and leading his team at the same time.
Do you want to start on attack or defense?
I love playing defense, no matter what the map is. I love just sitting back and let the enemies figure it all out, and I'll just sit on my bomb site and I'll blame my teammates if they die early. It's very simple game of Siege. However, there are two ways to approach this, which is, do you want to build an early lead by starting on the favorite side, which should be attack on Schley in most instances, or you're gonna say, we'll just take a round or two, start defense, and then we'll just go on full fire when we go into defense. There's two ways, depending on your mentality, how you work as a team. Do you work off momentum or comebacks, or do you like it being difficult, so to speak? Some people, they like pain. DarkZero, they're not making it easy for themselves.
Oh!
It's a nice run out. Doom, explosive one at that.
Literally takes so much damage, sacrificing his HP in order to get out, get the kill, take down Skies, whose first map was not particularly good, but the second map, not much better. And in fact, I would argue, worse.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It is worse. The way he's dying as well, like this is Skies being off on his own, being exposed, and yeah, Doom could have taken less damage from the impact grenade by then spending more time running out, but he didn't know for sure whether Skies was active in the drone or not, so you take the most amount of damage possible to reduce the amount of time needed to get out of the building. It's a valuable trade for him. Half your health for a kill, always worth it.
Spoken like a world champion.
It's true. Fabian would agree. He was looking fierce.
I don't care about Fabian.
Oh, okay. He's here, you know. Just in case you haven't seen him yet.
Yeah, no, sadly, no.
Look at that!
Way! The cojones on Noodle. But Gavin gets him back. The Dokkaebi from above. Let him off by Piano. Now Gavin will assert himself even farther, but more damage done. Nice shot on the Sloth. This is exactly why you want to pick him up. Now it's NJR again, doling out a ton of damage. That's Doom in a 1v3. NJR on flashing HP. Where have we seen this before? Pambazoo's still upright. He's in the middle of the bomb site. They don't have the diffuser just yet. NJR gets it. Logic bomb goes off. He's been spectacular so far, but can Doom make this work? He knows roughly where they are, but he has to be very careful plotting this.
They don't know.
They don't know that he's creeping up, and he just misses out, gives himself away a second here. He's been down in the frost mat, but NJR seals the deal. And you can see from his expression how close it came.
I think the impact would have killed him outright if he hadn't gotten the kill first, because the round ended, therefore he becomes invulnerable. I'm certain that would have been a Doom clutch if the impact just has half a second longer before he falls to the ground. What it absolutely crazy round. How it began with the opening pick from Doom just running outside, then Noodle jumping out the window that Sledge opens up, the flick from Gavin onto Sloth in office, into the absolute chaotic situation of 2 kills out of nowhere for DC, into a very winnable 1v3 from Doom based off the Frost Trap, the kill onto the iron on the bomb side, and then that impact grenade mid-air. Very, very small things could have changed the outcome of that round for both teams in an instant. And it came down to the absolute last second, if not a half second on the clock, with that impact grenade mid-air.
No spoilers, but M80 and FaZe Clan are doing battle on our sister channel, twitch.tv/Rainbow6Bravo. That first map just concluded moments ago. I'm not going to tell you what the scoreline is. You're welcome to go seek it out for yourself, but it is over. So at least map 1 is. Not, I want to be very clear, not the whole matchup, just the first map. Okay. So if you want to go and watch the remainder at some point, maybe when they finally get back from break and get underway with map number 2, we'll be much closer to finishing. I'd imagine at least 2 more rounds here will have gone by. You're welcome to tune in and enjoy the show.
In the meantime, we have a bang of a Shelley game so far. DC showing some signs of life in that previous round, also getting very aggressive themselves despite losing Skies early on, who was on that Lion. A rather important gadget to keep the roamers standing still. For this defense, however, while DC has good information game on the whereabouts of the enemy team, they don't really have any way to deal with them just yet. Deployable shields in control of Heroic. Blue stairs control of Sloth. Extended roam game across the board for Heroic. Means DC are struggling to get inside the building, and this could be another one of those rush rounds. Solar repel, Big Window Master repel. We could see them just run in that office door if they want to.
They got drones in very cheeky spots.
Yep.
And tons of intel to go along with it. I get the read on Noodle.
Oh.
Hamizu just waiting for the call. And there he goes. They'll flush Noodle out of this position. The drone is still there, but instead we'll go towards the window. A reflexive pre-fire through the barricade, and Pambazu losing an engagement he should not have lost. Now NJR's gone as well. Heroic lose Uno. Can DZ add more to the tally? Or will they watch that entry be rebuffed?
Oh. Diffuser's on the bomb side. They gotta play a retake on this side, essentially. Everyone's just waiting. I don't think anyone has any real idea what's going on here, to be honest. I don't think they recognize they have the diffuser necessarily.
It's a lot of control for the defense.
Yeah.
Canadian will march in. Is an integral part of that very first map being as close as it was. So far, he's been good enough. Needs to get the diffuser away from Heroic. 30 seconds left, and there goes the proximity alarm. The jig is up. He has the diffuser now. He'll find safety behind the chair inside of the office. Logic bomb goes off. DZ will have information off of this one, and as Heroic circle the wagons to take out the diffuser being planted, they're incapable of doing that. Sky's lighting up one with the Type 89, can't control it. Heroic walks away without a death just yet.
Oh.
Sloth is outside, engaging onto the buck of Canadian, losing it. DZ, cool as cucumbers. Every single player from Heroic is being shut down, leaving just Noodle in a 1v3. And he's good as gone. Skies, a much better round and a much better performance as DZ win 2 in a row to match Heroic's 2 in a row and tie us up through 4 rounds.
I'm very curious if Heroic knew the diffuser was down or not, because at first glance, it seemed like they knew because they gave up the entire bomb site. But then they surrendered to positions near the diffuser that could actually hold on to it, and basically surrendered the bomb site and the diffuser, giving them a free plant. That's what happened. Kane just walks in. No one really combated or contested, no one's below, no vertical play, no C4s, nothing. Bomb goes down, round is essentially over with that post plant. I mean, DC would really have to mess that up to lose the round, and they didn't. So, curious what happened there, to be honest. Bit of a weird round overall, because no one really moved much throughout that entire 2.5 minutes on the clock. Gavin, once he got posted up outside the building, looking through that piano window, didn't move a muscle. Benefit of playing Dokkaebi Line is that you have a global gadget. You can sit in those positions and have absolutely max value from the active use. Sure, you couldn't get inside the building to hack those cameras, but there also weren't really that many Intel gadgets of high value to really benefit from. And sure, Heroic have been playing a bit of Maestro, but when you have the full bomb site in control, you're not really gonna know what the enemies are gonna be because the bomb site is yours, as we saw from DarkZero. Full bomb site control after a minute and a half.
Oh, what a match we have here on Chalet. Very different from the beginning on Border, but I don't think after that 7-5 on Border, and now these first 4 rounds, we would expect a blowout in either direction. Theme Park looking more and more likely as these teams continue to put points on the board. Who has the edge there, though, is anybody's guess.
Zoom above the door from car garage, impacting out, just in case there's a Claymore there, can apply a bit of fear into the opponent. You see these guys, he's all the way back in that rock and spawn. He's not going to get run out on again, which could have happened if he actually was in the rappel. And that's the small things where if you punish a player in those kinds of positions, they might not even risk going there again. So a bit of a mental warfare being held there by Zoom's aggression early on. And it shows.
Zoom's still in this position, and he can do a lot of damage from it. He's got Capcan traps on that door just behind him in the closet, and a deployable shield there as well. And while Sloth might not have a single kill to his name, those magnets will prove to be extremely valuable and might even prevent a death on somebody on Heroic. He doesn't need to get a kill, but if he can stop one of his teammates from dying, that's pretty valuable all the same. And again, that's the kind of thing that's not reflected on the scoreboard. where it's being exchanged from players on both DZ and Heroic. Logic Bomb will now go out. Sloth expecting a swing towards the door. There's nobody there looking for it just yet to embrace him. Noodle softened up now too, and Canadian goes for the swing in, but Joom is in that power position inside of the closet, and he gets the leadoff pick for Heroic with a minute to go.
It's a good play there from Heroic, playing off Unu's aggression there on the solar stairs, and DC tries to punish it, but instead the punishment goes onto them.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
Gavin playing by piano. Still has information, not too far off as Pambazoo. Sloth will be hunted down, still unsuccessful in finding a kill, but Pambazoo gets baited in from down below. The impact securing the kill. Sloth is no more, but before we're able to see Heroic add to their tally. Gavin with the flash sidearm out, but Joom is just superhuman at this point. And Heroic lead by a single player, but it becomes two as NJR on Repel is reduced to atoms.
15 seconds left.
Skies with just a little bit of time left, not much to work through.
10 seconds left.
Had a better performance in the previous round, but he's in a hopeless spot at this point. Heroic doesn't seem really intent on even engaging him. Grizzly will. Give him a bit of a taste. 4 players still alive, but the clock is what ultimately ends the round. And DZ, they put 2 together, but that's all they're going to get on this streak. Heroic regain the lead.
Time, in general, is really taken down for DC, and this is actually an old habit of theirs they had, even back in Charlotte, where, and you can argue this in 2 different ways. You can either say that DC are, you know, utilizing every second available at their disposal by running down the clock, something that the old Vitality roster knows a lot about from way back when. Or you can say that they're not being efficient enough with their time in the early to mid round, forcing the late round to be a bit rushed. And I would say, at least here in Chalet, and a little bit on Border, it's the latter. They're having to rush through the last, what would normally be a minute of the round, because they only have 30 seconds to work with. And that's where a few things get missed, or you have to take in a higher risk situation, or you just can't, you don't have the time or the tools to get the job done. So it comes down to someone like Pambazoo just walking into double crossfire, hopefully getting a kill, and he does, but he gets traded out. And because DarkZero tends to lose the opening kills against Heroic, you're playing 4v5 from the get-go. That means 3v4, 2v3, and so on and so on. That means eventually it's 1v0 in favor of Heroic. You lose those rounds, right? So those things have to be sharpened up. It's the final attack for DC, final defense for Heroic, round number 6. See what they can do. Operators have been changed quite a bit in the attacking sides. Guys going from Hibana to Lion mostly. Gavin mostly on this Loki base. Also 2 global gadgets. Canadian, of course, can also track down the roamer. So very much focus on getting kills here on the side of DC.
What will become of this first half? Will it be a 4-2 for Heroic? Still possible. Will DarkZero tie it up and give us even more of a squeaker on the first half than we saw back on Border? All we know is DZ right now seems to be in the fight for their lives. And just in case you can't see in the top right-hand corner of your screen, this is DarkZero's map pick.
Correct.
So Heroic, while we do wag our fingers at them for how close Border was and say, tisk tisk, you probably should have won with a more definitive scoreline. Got to turn around and give them a tip of the hat and say, hey,
Oh my god.
3-2 is pretty nice. I cannot believe we are witnessing what is happening. Grizzly has made his way into the safe corner of Library. First kill, though, does go to DarkZero while all that is happening. The Oryx of June tries to get his way around the map, gets punished by the Jackal, but Canadian sustains a lot of damage in the process.
Yep. There's no finger this time around either, so that health will not go up. It can only really go down from here until it hits 0, and he's out for the count. DC again, look at the timer, 1 minute 15, and only really step 1 has been, initiated, which is the discovery phase. And sure, they got that kill, but they gotta get more.
Gathering intel.
Pambazoo on the stairs, looking to make some noise himself. And he will as he hits the barbed wire. Noodle will be the first one to receive him in that position. I don't know if Pamba's triggered the barbed wire just yet, or if he's still waiting. Noodle gets flashed and runs up the stairs. Because it's in such close proximity to him, it'll blind him either way. But he gets away with his life still intact. He'll have to wait for a hop in through the window. Grizzly will endure the wrath of 2 players from DZ, but Skies is punished, as is Gavin. NJR falls after a kill of his own. It puts Noodle into a 1v2. Pamba and Canadian with 30 seconds to go. Neither hold the diffuser. They'll need to retrieve it. It was being shepherded into bar. Smokes go out. Obscure the positioning of these attackers. Skeleton Key also opening up a small line of sight.
15 seconds remaining.
Noodle catches one off guard, and he gets both of them. Heroic take the first half 4-2. And you can thank that man Noodle there.
Yeah, that's the new member on the squad here. He's stepping up big for his team, and I was thinking kind of through my head like how I wanted to play that 1 versus 2 myself, because it's an awkward position. When the first smoke goes out, you're like, okay, they have smokes left. That's bad. When the second smoke was tossed was the bar door that he was actively holding, how do you want to get down to the bomb side without being heard? Well, he kind of dropped with the smoke grenade sound. That's kind of what he did. A little bit delayed, it worked out. They had no idea he left the top floor. That sound cue was not registered in their ears because of him trying to mask it as well as he did, and it paid off massively. Gets the injure, goes to the finish, and then gets the second kill with a flick as well. And that's gonna seal the deal for Heroic's first half, going 4-2 on a defensive start on Chalet. Statistically, a great number to put up, but it really doesn't matter how good you do in defense if you can't get anything done on the attacking side. Now, Slav actually statistically did a great job, just fine on border, no issues there, but he is still 0-6 so far here in Chalet. Slav on defense, I'd argue his role, that can be argued away, but on attack, Slav often got aggressive on border. He often finds himself helping the team move forward in that early to mid round. And he needs that here in Chalet as well. That's where DC struggled themselves. They need to be proactive in the first 1 minute 30 seconds, or rush through the last 1 minute 30 seconds instead. It's gonna be a very tactical setup, if you will, for DarkZero. Frost, cancel barricades, mute jammers, Valkyrie, black eye cameras as well. Heavy on information, just like before. Something Heroic should be prepared for.
First half in the books, Nick. In terms of opening picks, pretty close to even. DZ winning rounds 3 and 4. It's a different sandwich this time. DZ won rounds 1 and 6. They were the bread. The meat in the middle were the 4 rounds from Heroic on border. This time around, it's a bit of a thicker slice. It's like the double down sandwich from KFC, where the bread is actually just pieces of chicken. 2 rounds for Heroic, 2 rounds for DZ, 2 rounds from Heroic. Nade from Joom goes out, down goes Gavin. First pick goes to Heroic. That's great for the team that wants to send this one away. Heroic are the team that's within striking distance of winning 2-0. DarkZero finds themselves in not just a hole in this map, but in the series as well. And if they do not prevail on Chalet, well, that's it. They leave the day with no points. That's big for Heroic, especially since we've said before, this is a very tight, very competitive group.
Very much liking how Slav is just sitting back right now, recognizing that his operative IQ is just more valuable simply by staying alive, because the information from Canadian is something that DC heavily plays around. So he's going to sit far back, spot out those Valkyrie cameras, tell his team where they are, hopefully find 2 if not all 3, and then he can get more risky in those front-forward aggressive positions. And because Joom got the opening kill earlier on, Slav can take a bit of a backseat here, but the deployable shield punishes Heroic massively. 3 deaths in a span of 4 seconds.
DZ snapped their fingers and said, that's it. We don't want anything more to do with you. Heroic right now at a crossroads. One at the top of library stairs, the other over by the balcony. It's going to take Uno quite a bit of time to get through that door. All the while, he's allowed Noodle to get isolated and punished by NJR. It was a great start from Heroic, but it all fell apart. Now Uno has 20 seconds to try to kill potentially as much time as possible, or kill as many players from DZ as possible. He does quite a bit of damage. He's not able to secure a kill. Panbazoo is, however, and DZ pick up a big and important round. Could they streak on their own? They're at 3. Heroic is at 4.
Of course, now it's going to be bomb site rotation. So many options. I am hearing a dining call-up being called up with the player cam, or comms rather, should I say. And kitchen dining is indeed what they're going to be hovering right now. So, what Heroic did was they went master bedroom, bar, then kitchen. DZ going to change it up just a little bit earlier, go from master to kitchen secondary instead. They're not bringing the Meister Evil Eye cameras to the bomb site. They will just continue on with that Valkyrie. More information on the roam itself. Canadian himself also just playing much deeper in the map as a roamer these days. He's no longer going to be on side making callouts. He's going to be roaming around, trying to play actively on the map time and time again. And a big learning lesson for Troy with that kind of role change once he kind of joined DC and they figured out their roles, that he actually is playing very aggressively for most older players, IGLs, and what Troy is more like a flex support player for a lot of his career, in the later half of it at least. He's now almost like an entry player on both attack and defense. He plays Jackal half hours on attack, walks in solo, tries to go for kill. On defense, will put down his information, try and make a play off it, or help his teammates do the same thing. It's a big role change for him. Took a bit of time to adapt to it, but it's coming along quite nicely.
Garage breach opened up very quickly. First 20 seconds of action. And Heroic have found a relatively easy way into the map. It's a middle floor defense. But you want to essentially pinch on both the top and the bottom floor. Clear out the basement, clear out garage. Have somebody go in through potentially solarium, bathroom, clear that out as well. DZ have quite a lot of bodies on the main floor, but not necessarily in the bomb site, as you see Canadian is playing over in bar. He's going to be fighting for his life. They've already thrown 2 drones at him, but Heroic can't really be all that successful in slowing him down from that spot.
I mean, speaking of Canadian being in the midst of the battle early on, right? I mean, he's got 3 tangos all around him, and his support network is now getting active, right? Gavin on blue stairs, in on that dining hall, when Canadian can just stick in his corner or go for that 1v1 fight.
Waiting for the pop-up. Noodle will walk right in, and he wins the engagement. Canadian just a bit too sluggish. Can't predict the exact speed at which Heroic will take up some of that map. Halfway through round number 8. Flushed one of those players out. Scovered Gavin, but excellent coordination as the grenade drops in his lap, and then that's a dash up the stairs for Gavin right into the waiting arms. None other than Sloth. Heroic starting off the round so strong with 2 opening picks.
Oh, cheeky. That's a freebie, no? Yup.
Sure is. Droning out Panbazoo. Sloth capitalizes. It's 3 players from DZ that have all been picked apart through excellent coordination from Heroic.
Sometimes speed is not what matters. I mean, we always say how Oryx can sometimes get out of those dangerous positions, but no matter how fast you are there, well, Sloth is there to punish you, and so is Sloth again for a 3rd time in a row this round.
There's a flawless round for Heroic as... Well, there's only been 2 flawless rounds so far by my count, Nick. They've both been for Heroic. They came in the dying rounds of Border, and now one happens to propel Heroic to a 5th and crucial round, 2 away from putting this entire series in the books.
You are correct. I count 2 as well. And Sloth there getting very excited. I think said something online, so like, I'm getting activated down to 5v5. The game is over for DarkZero. So he too recognizes that. He had a bit of a struggle of a first, 8 rounds. But he is now activated and can successfully approach the situation now. And should be better for it, to be honest. We'll see what they'll do going forward. We are finding ourselves in this position where DarkZero, they have to figure out how to break this attack from Heroic, essentially. Canadian tried earlier with that aggression, got shut down. Probably not going to go the same thing again this time around. Maybe let Panbazoo handle that instead. As he can play in the basement, wait for a flank, a mid-round play. That is typically where Troy strikes the best.
5 seconds remaining.
Seen Troy excel on those lurk rolls.
Heading out to defuse a bomb.
Vigil, Valkyrie, Pulse.
Yeah.
Almost all focused around information, as we talked about before. Either way.
Yeah. I am For a second, I was thinking this could be a heroic rush, but there's not enough manpower to like execute that. Also, NGR, he has the Warden, flashbang, smoke grenades, it won't bother him, so there's no real reason for the hero to approach this. There's no O's, no Ying on the board either, so it doesn't signify that was ever the plan. But the main breach gets opened up. Meanwhile, library roam clear has commenced as well, so we're taking two sides of the map at once. It's a great pace for heroic. Yeah, there it is. That little crosshair shake, that seemed like, yeah, I know.
The difficulty from Sloth. Slow start for Sloth in this matchup was 0-4 or 0-5, but it's now been starting to put kills on the board. Maybe finding more success and more comfort on these attacking operators, or just rather his place on the team. Inside a mudroom, Joom has jumped in. It's a familiar spot for him. This is exactly how Heroic were able to flush Canadian out of the spot inside of bar. But a different setup from DZ means you're not going to have that same level of success. Additionally, this is a garage defense. All four of the bomb sites have now been played here on Chalet. Cause for celebration. Hooray!
Whee! The bomb site is extremely vulnerable. Only two members on the side, and I think Heroic knows they could act fast. Pamis is faster.
Absolutely. Knows exactly where Sloth is upstairs and makes him pay. Noodle goes down now as well. Heroic have lost two very quickly, almost losing Grizzly. They will. Joom is gone too. A flawless round to answer a flawless round? Gadzooks! Uno with diffuser in hand, a minute to go. Will he feed himself to this DZ wood chipper on the round, or will we see some, pardon the pun here, heroics? Well, DZ know where he is. They know he's at the breach.
Yep.
They saw the flash go in. They know his position. They also know that they have the bomb site working in their favor. They don't need to do a single thing. The moment that he walks through that breach, he can be visible to either connector or to the bottom of main stairs. Blue can go for a reflex test if they so choose. They're not doing it just yet. Drone goes out, shot away at. That's a bit of information. Uno's killing a lot of time here. Mr. Officer instinctively pulling down the microphone. A tactical timeout has been requested by Heroic. He knew that before the round was even over. DZ pick up a flawless round to answer Heroic's flawless round, keeping this match especially close.
Yeah, I mean, and I think this does cause for a great time to talk about things, right? Because we are in a position where both teams are getting very, like every single round right here are defining for this outcome. And it's extremely close and also extremely far apart because we're seeing flawless round to flawless round. Then we're seeing pretty one-sided rounds before that as well. And you want to take your time out now before you hit that OT match point scenario. The one thing is, when Mr. Officer calls for timeout now for Heroic, DC also get time to talk to Mint of, their coach to counter, combat what they think you're going to talk about or what they want to talk about themselves. So a bit of a mind game now. The question is, I don't think if you're Heroic, you're going to talk about bomb site expectations for DarkZero. I mean, I think it's safe to assume that they can play all four bomb sites. One of them right now is locked. They have three options that they can choose between, and we kind of know what to expect. It really comes down to the decision making from the team itself. On that basement attack, we saw Heroic in the first minute be very effective. Open up main breach, go library, etc. Then they kind of tried to drone out the entire map. Sloth was alone top floor. He got found out. Then they said, okay, bomb site is weak. Let's rush the bomb site. And then they kind of ran the breach. They died, and then Unu's left alive out to the breach with diffuser. And there was no real decisive decisions being made. It was kind of like on a whim. Okay, let's try and roam clear. Okay, the roam clear is kind of hard. Let's go for a side rush. Okay, that didn't work either. I guess the round is over. That's pretty much how I see that round break down. When the previous attacks from Heroic, especially on border, it seemed like there's a more decisive approach. Okay, this round, we're gonna go west side. Clear it over, figure it out. We're gonna fight the odds, fight the issues, whatever. Changing your mind mid-round can be done, but it does come at a cost of time. Rotating around the map is not quick, especially if you're halfway across the map itself. And you mentioned Parker, Canadian playing Vigil, Valkyrie, Pulse, etc. He's playing Vigil now.
Look at the three operators that he's played so far on defense. Nick?
Yep.
Vigil, Pulse, Valkyrie.
Yep, there it is. All around the information.
He loves that lurk on Oregon as well. playing well down below. This is a cacophony of noise. Good lord, so many sounds. The sound, the thunder. Flash is going out, E1D going out. Soft destruction, caliber-based destruction onto the walls, opening up bigger sight lines. There's another E1D to go too. Heroic desperately trying to capitalize off of this. They've used 2 of the 3 gadgets from Lion, only spotted a tiny bit. Do bear in mind, Canadian is immune from Lion's gadget. When that cloaking device is active, he can escape by the drones, and he's already done that.
I mean, the thing is, I was going to say, IQ can simplify this process by, you know, having the scanner out while Canadian's trying to avoid the drones and the Lion charge to know exactly where he is, because right now, Heroic are guessing if he's basement or first floor, etc. And he's wasting they're still looking for the basement. He's not there. He's in bar. He's wasting so much time right now. And
gets spotted out. He's as good as gone. Heroic, after their timeout, they get the very first pick. Took a little bit longer than previous rounds.
Big punishment.
Huge from Gavin. Noodle tries the stairs, but that's Gavin's playground. Heroic are frozen in place, but for a second, trying to figure out how exactly we're going to get this guy with a frost shield out of there.
Yeah, that was the same issue that last time, right? They kind of went into the Ivy hallway, 2 members just died to the player in the shield, that's Pambasu. And it is hard to clear this position, but if you just walk into Fireplace, where Juma is right now, and win this gunfight, great job, then you can try and deal with that shield position. Once the shield falls, this gets way easier.
Oh, Pambasu goes for broke on the opening inside of Office. Takes down Uno after the castle barricade had been split wide open. 3v3, but Juma has sacrificed most of his life. Grizzly prepping for a jump in, but remember, there's a frost on the board. You have to look down, and teams will adeptly try to play off of that. Grizzly vaults in, knows it's not there. Sloth not too far off. Oh,
wow.
No.
Not
That's
good.
not what you want. A team kill from Joom onto Grizzly. Sloth is now dead as well. DZ looks to have tied it up. You take the timeout before this happens. If they hadn't, this almost certainly would have been a timeout just to give them a breather. And Sky's technically credited with the final kill, even though the clock had hit 0. Just some nice stat padding there. DZ capitalizing off of that huge blunder from Heroic.
Yeah.
All Grizzly can do is laugh a little bit. Fist bump, Mr. Officer. And get right back into the game. All 12 rounds will be needed, just as we saw on Border. The outcome of this matchup far from certain. But boy, oh boy, you've already called your timeout. And after you do that, team kill comes in a very tense moment in a round that could have very easily been won by Heroic.
Yeah.
That can shock your mental, absolutely.
I love the fact that Canadians bring out the vigil once again, just understanding the value it gave in that previous round. And now the question comes, is Sloth gonna stay in the IQ or change to the S, for example, here is showcased? Because Sloth isn't really getting that much done in the IQ, because then, like, Heroic is now succeeding in getting map control and getting inside the building, dealing with, you know, the deployable shields. IQ does not help with any of that. It helps with Canadian. Just him as an individual. Whether he plays Valkyrie or Vigil, that's the only thing he really can deal with. And sure, he ended up getting the kill with the gadget through the floor in library onto Canadian. After that, Sloth is nowhere to be seen, doesn't need to get much done. And when Doom isn't in the right position at the right time with those grenades, they cannot progress as a team. So we're gonna say, let Canadian have his fun, be a menace in the basement or whatever with the Vigil Cloak, but now we're gonna enable our own player instead and try and match that 5v5. Oh, there we go. We're back with colors.
It's always fun. It's always fun when
It's always fun.
it's always fun when it gets jammed.
Just a shout out to all the mute mains out there.
Even after the change. Oh my, Noodle. Canadian praise upon him. First kill goes to DarkZero.
That was way too easy. He just walked in like he owned the place, but he did. He shouldn't be.
I mean, Heroic could very easily be tilted off of that one, Nick. Canadian under fire still inside of Garage, losing a bit of his HP, but Heroic cannot capitalize off of it. There it is. Grizzly catches him. Spoke too soon.
Good catch.
Seemed like an opportunity almost lost, and then it wasn't.
I mean, trading one from the scenario, Noodle for Canadian, Buck for Vigil. It's not the worst trade in the world. You still have your grenades and your soft reach and ash, which has just been spent on this utility side of Solarium. Oh.
Sloth, a nice shot on a Gavin. Now it's Pamba taking some damage, but he's able to skate free, it looks like. There's another E1D that'll be burned. And now they've got the Vigil off the board. They don't need to be too concerned with an operator being able to avoid it.
See, this is always one of those positions. Doom has to spend 30 seconds moving his drone all the way from basement up to the top floor just to take a shot instantly, most likely. Now, this Ibana pellet hole might favor Skies at C4. Massive double kill for him. What a punishment that is.
And Sloth looking for an engagement that might come out in his favor. It does. Skies has been finished off and punished, and now we have lost
the feed.
All visuals.
Mute mains, man.
Oh, goodness. That is not great. Grizzly in a 1v2. Oh, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. A 1v2, but he has some information. NJR is on the ground. Pamazoo taking damage, 35 seconds. Now Grizzly has the diffuser. I'm not sure why you'd pick that up. He knows that he can't go for a diffuse here.
Yeah, has to go for kills. There's no way.
Potentially wasted time. Some utility to be gone from that gone 6. Grizzly needs to wait them out. And through the kill hole on the ground. In the table.
That is like an impossible angle to be unless you're pre-firing it back. I mean, you're not going to see that ever.
Never in a million years are you going to get the drop on a pro player in that position. And now, Heroic without their parachute. They're staring down map point. DZ coming back from the dead.
That C4 really changed the entire outcome of the round. Not only did he get the one kill, he got both of them on the window rappel. And that's basically thanks to the Mute Jammer. Jammer was on the wall, which forced the breach to try and breach above the wall itself to toss a grenade in to get the Jammer. You can also bounce it to the doorway from the big window rappel, but they opted differently. And it got used against him to great success by Skies. Again, the experience coming through here, understanding the options available at his disposal, and chose correctly and waited for that opportunity to present itself. Now Canadian, for the first time, his entire map of Chalet is playing a passive operator. He's on bandit duty. He's going to be tricking walls and denying a breach from going up, or going out rather. The question is, how exactly is he going to bandit trick on basement Chalet? Is he going to be hiding? Yeah, he's going to be hiding in blue. So they're going to go for this breach. There's going to be no wall deny. Heroic will assume that it's clear. Then he will trick the wall as they will blindly try and open up with Thermite and successfully do just that. And because Heroic's only playing a single or hard breach, that's actually very painful to their lineup. If they were playing 2 hard breachers, wouldn't be a big deal, but they only have 2 exothermic charges. That trick is half of all their breach. They're gonna EP, it's clear, Thermite, and Bandit trick. Excellently done by DC, excellently read by Canadian.
First kill goes to Heroic again. And even though they do tend to come out on top on first kills and first bloods, it doesn't make a massive difference in the actual score sheet. I mean, it obviously helps them keep even pace, but the way these teams are playing, we're set up for what could be a second 7-5 in a row, with both teams taking their own map by the skin of their country teeth. I mean, that means that we'll have an absolute ball on Theme Park, but let's look ahead of ourselves. Heroic have the upper hand by 1. Pambazoo, who's been the best player for DZ, is gone, but now you've lost Sloth, who again started picking up the pace and has been mighty fine.
Canadian, after that trick, and then pre-plays all his bandits and play actively. And now with this backside breach on towards Trench, that's the only hard wall that Heroic can open up. That means DC to know A, where the push is most likely going to be coming from, and B, it's the only way in, but it does not matter. Heroic, no map control, has not cleared the roamers either. It is not looking good for them.
Walking into their death, 1 by 1 by 1.
And what now? Now we can drone, try and pick up the pieces, but we gotta eventually just go for kills, right? Like, nothing's really gonna help us. We don't have the correct lines of sight. We have no hard breach. We have 1 grenade in the pocket of Doom, and we have 3 guns. That is all we really have to work with here.
Barricades being broken, 1 minute to go. Gavin, he's got the read on the vault in. He doesn't need to do anything. He can sit and wait for that single player because right now DZ has an extra floater player that can go wherever they want. Heroic are the team that currently trails. Nate goes out. Joom looks for the read, can't get it. Gavin gets the jump in. Down goes Grizzly as well. Joom in a 1v4. DZ want this map so desperately, and they just need a single soul to do it, and they'll get it. Caught. DZ take their own map 7-5. The exact same scoreline that Heroic prevailed on Border. And we have a third map between these teams. Again, they both had to work for it. But we'll go to Theme Park, tied up at 1 apiece.
And the best thing about it is that there is absolutely zero way to tell who's fair to take it.
I mean, what an impressive run by DZ, taking those final 4 rounds, flawless. Then a timeout is called. Heroic messes up. There's no way around it. And when DZ lost that first map, yeah, they were disappointed. But the look of dismay on the face